welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody had a lovely Christmas, whatever you did, and enjoyed lovely times with friends and family. And if you were on your own, that you had a peaceful and restorative one, and that you found some joy in either solitude or invitations from people. Anyway, before Christmas, the Symphony number 7 in C major, opus 60, by Dmitri Shostakovich popped into my head. It's sometimes known as the Leningrad Symphony and goes something like that. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. And I thought to myself, now I wonder why has that popped into my head? And of course I did a short. Very strange. Anyway, I haven't been reading or looking at the news very much, so I really wasn't aware of what was going on in the world. So imagine my surprise, unsurprise, I'm not sure, when I saw that Trump and Zelensky were meeting again to discuss peace in that part of the world between Russia and Ukraine. And then I saw today that Putin's residence had been attacked. Now, this part of the world is very fractious, as are many at the moment. There's a lot of difficulty in many parts of the world just now. In fact, throughout the world. If it's not war, it's talks or trade sanctions, tariffs, big disagreements between governments and their people, all manner of things. It does definitely feel like the book of Revelations is playing out in real time. Now, thinking about the Leningrad Symphony, it was really written to honour Lenin. However, it became a symbol in Russia and the West of resistance to fascism and tyranny. The Germans had besieged Russia, and the symphony was played round about a year into that siege. So we're talking 1942-ish. So undoubtedly more is going to come to light on that, but I do feel that it's a message to say that we need to be standing up for ourselves and celebrating our power and sovereignty as individuals and also as a collective. It's time definitely to unite, whatever background, culture, creed we come from, and come together and stand together and take back what is rightfully ours, which is real freedom, real democracy, the ability to live our lives free from war and pain and fear. We need to remember that all regimes are based on fear. Now, I could go into a few predictions and I may at this point say that the tables are about to turn in our favour, but we can't take anything for granted. We need to have and show resilience and appreciate that everything happens in divine timing. We're not going to be handed things on a plate, so it really is our job to step up to that plate and start to make new waves for ourselves and new fortunes and opportunities. It's going to be quite a fractious year, and this always happens when the pyramid starts to collapse, which it will do in due course, but we cannot wait or expect to wait for others to save us, if you like to use such a phrase. Now, for a while now, one of my spirit guides, Chief White Eagle, has been in the background waiting for me to channel him, and I think as it's about the end of the year, I'm recording this on the 30th of December, that we should connect. He has quite a few things to say. Now, if anybody knows anything about Chief White Eagle, he was the chief of the Ponca Tribe in the 19th century from 1870 to 1904. It was an hereditary chieftainship, so his father and his grandfather were also chiefs of the Ponca tribe. White Eagle was born on the ancestral Ponca homeland, somewhere where the rivers Niobrara and Missouri met, which forms the contemporary South Dakota-Nebraska state line. At the time of his birth, the Ponca form of government was an oligarchy, in which the full sovereign power of the Ponca was held by an hereditary chief sovereign who was counselled by 13 chiefs, 6 senior chiefs and 7 junior chiefs, who represented the interests of the Ponca citizenry. The chief sovereign served as the head of state and ranking senior chief, and the position was a dynastic succession based on male primogeniture. This dynastic rule was vested in White Eagle's direct male line, a dynasty which was established by White Eagle's paternal grandfather, Chief Little Bear, in the latter part of the 18th century, when he assumed power from the traditional sovereigns by heroic feat. Chief White Eagle was born around 1825, although we're not exactly sure. He was a Native American politician and American civil rights leader who served as the hereditary chief of the Ponca from 1870 until 1904. Following the unlawful Ponca Trail of Tears in 1877, both Chief White Eagle and his deputy, Standing Bear, sought to obtain justice for their people, and they did this by utilising the American media to wage a public relations campaign against the United States and President Rutherford B. Hayes, as well as through a lawsuit, Standing Bear versus Cook. Chief White Eagle's advocacy against America's Indian removal policy marked a shift in public opinion against the federal government's Indian policy. that ended the policy of removal, and this placed him at the forefront of the burgeoning Native American civil rights movement in the second half of the 19th century. He eventually abdicated in 1904 when his son, Horse Chief Eagle, succeeded. Horse Chief Eagle was the last hereditary chief in the United States due to the enactment of the Oklahoma Indian Welfare Act 1936, which prohibited non-democratic Native American governments. Chief White Eagle died on the 3rd of February 1914 at White Eagle, Oklahoma, and is buried at Monument Hill, Marland, Oklahoma. So Chief White Eagle was the chief during one of the most transformational periods in American history, and also one of the most difficult, and a lot of tyranny was committed against not just the Ponca tribe but a number of other Native American tribes. And the Ponca were forcibly removed from their native homelands and were subjected to what's known as the Trail of Tears in 1877, and they had to travel to Oklahoma. This took 54 days and there were a lot of deaths, and the weather was very unkind to them. There were storms and tornadoes, and they'd had all their property stolen from them. This was an unlawful removal as well, because their security had been assured under an 1865 pact. I will show you an illustration of White Eagle from the Keepers of the Light Oracle by Kyle Gray. Remember though that spirits can appear however they wish to. They may look different from photographs. They may present themselves in a different way. Remember that spirit is fluid. Now then, how White Eagle and his grandfather and father came to be chiefs of the Ponca Tribe is very interesting. Little Chief, who was the chief in the later part of the 18th century, was concerned because his son, he felt, had been killed, but he had no idea where his bones lay. Now, there was a young man within the tribe who was different from all the others and immediately caught his eye. His name was Little Bear, and that was Chief White Eagle's grandfather. He wore a skull cap which was made of skin, and on the back of that there was a more downy feather and then also an eagle feather from the wing. And he also carried a buffalo horn. His face was also painted in a different way. Little Chief, remembering that the young Little Bear dressed and painted himself in an unusual manner, thought that it was probable that he possessed more than ordinary power and courage. So he thought he would call on him to see what he could do. Little Chief called together all the other sub-chiefs, and when they were assembled, he sent for Little Bear. On the arrival of the young man, Little Chief spoke to him and told him that his son had gone on the warpath and had not returned. He didn't know where his bones lay and had only heard that he had been killed. He wanted him to go to find the land where he was killed, and that if he returned successfully 4 times, then he would resign his place in his favour. So off Little Bear went, and on his trip he was accosted by some Sioux Indians, and he went over a hillock and he was fired at with an arrow, and the arrow hit the horn and also hit the headdress, and then the Sioux went, but Little Bear wasn't injured, and he got up and he got the scalp of the Sioux and he took it back, and he also caught some ponies. And there were another 3 trips out onto the plains, and Little Chief did indeed give him the chieftaincy. Now, in 1846, Brigham Young and the Mormons did record White Eagle as a junior chief. So when his grandfather died soon after, his father took over as the chief of the Ponca tribe. His name was Iron Whip, and he died during the Trail of Tears in 1877, although he abdicated in 1870, and at that point White Eagle took over. So that's a potted history, if you like. But if you would like me to talk more about Chief White Eagle and maybe do a video just dedicated to him, then please let me know. I may in any case do a WordPress blog, but if you would like me to do a video about Chief White Eagle and learn more about what he did for his people and how he managed to secure lands and also generate income for the tribe, then do let me know. I always wondered why we connected, but it's kind of becoming clearer. You see, he was very aware of injustice as much as justice, and always wanting to put injustices right. And I guess I've got that same kind of ethos. Also, some of my maternal ancestors were Mormons. They left Lancashire and they went on the Pioneer Trail and established one of the Mormon cities, and I will talk about that in a subsequent video, but of course we have links to Brigham Young. So it now all makes a lot of sense. So I have my table set up and I'll just show you. I've got some incense going, which is called Divine Karma by Satya. And I've got my tincture bells. I'm just going to ring my tincture bells just to clear the pathway. So we will wait for Chief White Eagle to step forward and hear what he has to say. He's got a very strong, calming presence, very strong face, piercing eyes, but a kind heart, kind energy, charismatic, quite a strong force. Oh. Welcome. It's been a long time, Chief White Eagle, and I'm sorry for the delay in connecting with you. But with your bidding, what would you like to say? He says, the project didn't happen. We were due to do a project, but for logistical reasons, we were not able to continue it at that point. But I would like to say I would very much like to do that at some point. He says, not now, my child, it will come back again when the time is right. The time is not yet right. Soon, but within the divine timing. There are many struggles in the world right now. You need to focus on shining the light. People need to find courage, as I did in my lifetime. Courage to stand up for what they know to be right and true. There were many injustices in the world as they were then. And not everything went right, but I truly did the best I could every day for my people to fight the injustices and the very harsh deeds that were aimed against my tribe. There were, of course, later on individuals who made things a little easier for me, and we were able to negotiate good opportunities and land for my people. Delay for me was the best way forward. Colonel Miller was a good man. Colonel Miller had a son called Joe, and both Colonel Miller, I think I'm right in saying, and his son Joe could also understand the ways and speak the Ponca language, and assisted in many delegations between authorities. And Chief White Eagle and his deputy Standing Bear So I would like to ask, what else do we need to do? What do we do? How should we go about the predicament that we find ourselves in? How shall we proceed? You need to have steady hearts and minds. Keep the heart open, but the mind open as well. There needs to be a balance between heart and mind. However, sometimes I let my heart rule my head, but I felt that on balance it was important to do so. I had a bloodline, and it was my duty to honour that bloodline and be a warrior. A chief is always a warrior, but a real chief, but there is not necessarily a need for bloodshed. Bloodshed was always the last resort, but I would do whatever I could for my people and go out and fight to the death if that's what they wished me to do. So you must go forward and stand. Find courage from wherever you can. Think about those who will succeed you. When you are long gone, I have ascended to guide yourself and others in what you need to do. You know as a soul what you need to do. People need to get back in touch with our instincts. So many instincts have been lost because of technology, new technology as well as old technology. People have become lazy and relied on technology to do their bidding. But as people, as tribes, we all owe it to ourselves to do what is in our soul contract and carry out certain ways in order to reach a peaceful and hopefully swift resolution. However, these times are far from swift, therefore more urgency is needed. I can't say exactly what you must do, merely the way in which you must do it. What you do is a matter for yourself and your conscience as human beings. Remember, humanity is the key. I would like you to read something from The Quiet Mind. Okay, I will do so. Interestingly, I will also add that when I shuffled the Kyle Gray cards, the first one right on the bottom of the pack happened to be White Eagle. So I knew he wanted to step forward. Sorry, I'm still here with respect. So I will read something from here. It's page 56. I will read, never force the issue, and when love possesses your heart. Never try to force the door and to go into any condition by force. Just wait, and you will conserve all the power which will be necessary for you to accomplish your work at the given time. When love possesses your heart to serve adequately, the soul must make sacrifices. There must be sacrifice of desire and of self. Your master demonstrated this even to sacrifice of life itself. There is no true service without sacrifice. You may shrink from it, dear ones, but you cannot alter the law of life. But when love possesses your heart, all service, all giving brings such joy that there is no sacrifice. There is no place for hate. Where good lies, hate must go. Learn to like yourselves and honour yourselves and your ancestors and your children and grandchildren and all those who walk in front of you. Even the misdeeds have a quiet learning. Lessons that we can observe in order to avoid the less pleasant aspects of a person or what happens, whatever happens. Everything happens for a reason. The things that are happening now were brought because there was a high level of learning to be had which was not being learnt. Always remember that. When the horse rides across the plain and reaches the water, he must drink. If he fails to drink, then that is a sign that all is not well, and it may be necessary to coax him to drink if that is what he wishes, but sometimes he's exhausted and can do no more. All things have their season. As bad things have their seasons, the good things to follow will do likewise, unless the lessons are learned. Long has there been lust for power, but now it appears that there is a general lust for power throughout the world. Things have been allowed to get way out of hand, and there are debts to be paid. I will be watching. I'm never far away. You and I will do the project when the time is right, and the necessary tools have been obtained. This will be soon enough again, when the time is right, for healing is needed in the world. You are a veritable animal healer and healer of humans, and you need to go forth and do that. That is one of the ways in which you need to serve. I take that on board. You have done good with the healing. It is one of your finest gifts. Everyone has their talents, and they need to contemplate at this new year and think and reflect on what skills they have to lend to the war that lies ahead, the battle between the good and the evil. The chessboard is all laid out. There have been some losses of pawns, but also many gains are to be had. Remember, delay. The champion of the chess game is he or she who contemplates and stratifies and considers at length the next move to be made. It does not matter, it matters not how long it takes to move the piece on the chessboard, only that it is in the rightful way and the move is the right one. The game gets harder with every move. Remember that. But good will not fail. However, hard work must be carried out by all, or the battle will not be won. So take on board these things and focus on positive outcomes. Manifestations are very important at this time. There is no point, there is no use dwelling on all the negative things that are happening. That will only send out signals, the smoke, that this is what you are looking for. Remember, there are many timelines. You need to focus on more positive outcomes. There is no point saying, oh, this won't happen, this will happen, this bad thing will happen, that bad thing will happen. If that is the smoke signal you are sending out, then that's what the universe will send you. The smoke signals must say, we are strong, we are brave, we are winning, we will conquer, we will overcome, we are overcoming. This wonderful thing has happened. This joy is occurring. And then the universe will answer those smoke signals with good things. I abdicated when I was almost 80 years old. My body was weak and tired. I had travelled thousands of miles in my lifetime. My son took over where I left off. Ultimately, things did not go the way we would have wished, but such is life. But here exists my legacy. So I must go now and bid you farewell for now, but we will talk again. That is my message to you and to the rest of the world. Heed my message at this time. The new year is always a new opportunity to reflect and to set out one's intentions for the year to come. Blessed be, and thank you for fading away. So we will sit here for a moment and think about that. And I may look at another passage, and I've gone to the back of the book. And this, if you like, we can think of as a final message. Be thankful, for thankfulness also casts out all fear. Be thankful and remember that your Father, Mother in heaven knows your needs and that all you need will be supplied. And we give thanks to Chief White Eagle for his words of wisdom today. And I think what he said is quite clear. I will clear the air now. Again. And what we will do is we will maybe just pull one card and then I'll end it there. And thank you for watching. We have Paul the Venetian. Experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. And doesn't that end it nicely? And of course here we have White Eagle here, who was saying something very similar. Ancestor spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. And don't we owe that to ourselves and those who follow us on the earthly plane? Well, thanks so much for that if you stayed to the end. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy and empowering and a healthy new year. And I will see you again soon. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and give it a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.